I let Natalia into my house, shared my last piece of bread with her, helped her find a job, and she took away the most precious thing from me. Anna still tells everyone with tears in her eyes. And if someone starts to tell her that it was noble and charitable to help others, they immediately interrupt with a half word, as if saying, "Thank you" is already too much. Although she didn't get angry, of course. And she adds that she will always help animals, children, and the elderly, but she's not sure about others. And it's this woman in particular who always had a heart of gold and a kind nature. She was one of those whose doors were always open to those in need. And then that incident happened, changing her decent life. It all started a long time ago, in childhood. That's when Anna, a 4-year-old girl, met Natalia in the yard. And after exchanging little trinkets, they both immediately understood they couldn't be without each other. Anna was dark-skinned, curly, and very calm. And Natalia fair-haired, blue-eyed angel, with a very lively temperament, inclined to all sorts of pranks and adventures from childhood. They complemented each other somehow. "Let's always be together, and no one will be dearer than each other," Natalia hugged Anna. They went to the same school, in the same class, sat at the same desk, trusted each other with their first girlish secrets. And as they grew up, they discovered some differences. Anna always dreamed of having a reliable and caring person by her side. Natalia said she would only marry someone with money. "Like, thanks," she sneered. Their mother raised all 4 of them alone, and Natalia had to patch clothes for her sister. By the way, her wish came true. She got married very early. Her husband was the son of wealthy parents and married her because Natalia was pregnant. And Anna got married late, after 30. Not that she spent a long time searching for suitors, it just happened that way. Her Alexander was a solid, intelligent man, worked as a programmer. It saddened her that they had no children, but they lived on. And then the best friends parted ways. Or rather, Natalia left with her husband. She promised solemnly to call, to write, but then it all stopped. Anna tried to find her, but couldn't. Different people lived at the old address, the phone was silent. They met when they were both 46. Just a ring at Anna's door, and she barely recognized her beautiful friend in the skinny, sick-looking woman crying on her doorstep. She had a travel bag, looking completely worn out. She told her story, after which Anna couldn't come to terms with it for a long time. It turns out, Natalia's son died. Her husband started drinking heavily afterwards. He vented his anger on his wife and blamed her for everything. Like, it was her insistence that led the child to want everything. They bought a car, the boy loved fast driving, and then the rain, a truck coming towards them. Her husband went crazy. "I understand that I'm to blame, but I just wanted the best for my boy." She didn't withstand the grief, quite the opposite. "The last time, after meeting his fist, I spent a month in the hospital and left. You know, we used to live beautifully, we had money. But he managed everything in such a way that he got everything. I didn't get anything at all. I went to my brothers and sisters, but they didn't let me in. Like, while you were rich, you didn't think of us, and now don't show up here. I have nowhere to go. Let me in even for a couple of days. Maybe I'll find a dormitory for myself there," Natalia cried on Anna's shoulder. "Naturally, I let her in not for a couple of days, but permanently, until she finds something, because she and Alexander live alone in a 3-room apartment, there's plenty of space." Of course, I asked my husband, and he sighed but agreed. At first, Natalia just lay there, but then she got up. She started taking care of herself again. Anna got her a job through acquaintances, and in the evenings, the best friends happily spent time together. "You're lucky, Anna, you have a good man." "True, not exactly wealthy, but what can you do? And so handsome and caring. I can't even stand next to my brood after that." Natalia said. She looked younger than her years, very slim like a girl, no gray hair, and a cloud of fair hair, dressed youthfully. Anna sighed. She herself had become quite plump, spent a lot of time sitting, sometimes forgot to dye her hair, and didn't particularly like makeup. And then changes occurred. Alexander's old friend invited him to join him. He was starting a company, and that man, with brains and all, things suddenly went uphill for the family within a year. Anna could only exclaim. They had never lived well, and suddenly everything appeared. Natalia, of course, still lived with them. Anna was happy. Beloved husband nearby, dear friend. She even confided in Natalia that she wanted to adopt a child. The only one who didn't approve of Anna's kind deed was her colleague at work. You're a fool, Anna, be careful not to regret it. Your look at Natalia is sharp, not good, and she's all flash and dazzle. Aren't you afraid your Alexander will be stolen by her? This same Svetlana said to Anna. What are you talking about? We've been like sisters with her since we were 4, and my husband sees her as a relative and doesn't even look her way. You shouldn't think badly of people, Svetlana, Anna smiled. A little time passed, and Anna noticed that Natalia had gained weight. All right, enough of walking with a cane, otherwise I look like a sack next to you. Let's both be chubby now. Anna hugged her friend. Natalia just joked, saying, you feed so well. And one day Anna returned home happy. They were allowed to take Xenia, an 8-year-old girl from the orphanage, for the weekend. She was so modest, with eyes like a deer, thin. It'll be a surprise for Alexander, he's been dreaming of a child. We'll adopt Xenia and live happily now, Anna rejoiced. She opened the door with her key, tried to hug her husband as usual, but he pushed her away. Natalia was also at home, but she stood by the window, not turning around. Alexander, I wanted to tell you, Anna began, but her husband interrupted her. Sit down, Anna, we need to tell you something too, and let's do it calmly, we're adults, no hysterics. Well, here's the thing, I don't know exactly how to start, but I think you'll understand, you're kind, in general. Here's the thing. Alexander fidgeted, twisting a towel in his hands. Oh my God, just tell her already, Anna, we're having a baby with your husband, I'm pregnant, you can't imagine what happiness it is, of course, it's a miracle, I couldn't imagine that I could get pregnant at this age, I lost my son, so now this happiness is sent to replace it, it's been 3 months already, Natalia exclaimed. Natalia lifted her chin, while Anna stood there, unable to comprehend anything. At first, she even smiled, happy that her friend would have a child, and only then did it dawn on her. From her husband? How is that even possible? Anna, it was just a momentary lapse. Natalia, she's like that. Well, I love her, so let's not have any hysterics, we're getting divorced, and I'm marrying Natalia, Alexander replied. And then confusion overtook Anna. She tried to push Natalia, grab her by the hair, her husband pulled her away, shouting that she could harm the child, then Anna cried in the chair, Alexander went for water, and Natalia, leaning towards her, said, I lived well, let others live, and don't think my conscience bothers me, I always thought of myself first, and I would never have come to you if I had somewhere else to go, but it turned out so perfectly. Anna was even kicked out of the apartment where she lived because by law the living space belonged to her husband. It was purchased before the marriage. The only thing left for her was the garden with the house, which Natalia graciously allowed her to give away. Even though the garden was already registered in Anna's name, others would have sold it, but we're giving it to you, say thank you, Natalia shouted at her in parting. Thank you, Anna didn't want to say, she walked around as if in a daze, and even at work, they pitied her and gave her 2 weeks off because she didn't react to anything. She moved to live in the garden, and there she sat on a bench, staring into space, only drinking water, not cooking anything, not going to the store. Once she started pulling out weeds and for some reason began pouring them into barrels of water. And because of her trance-like state, she didn't even hear someone's voice. "Ma'am, are you okay? Wake up." Anna looked ahead. A gray-haired man with a straight back and military bearing was shaking her by the shoulders, his eyes the color of black pearls. Even though they were in the garden, he was dressed in summer pants and a shirt. Usually dacha owners look different. "Who are you?" "Stop shaking me," she protested. "Your new neighbor. Your plot is next to mine now. My name's Pavel, retired major." "Why are you throwing grass into water barrels?" "It's none of my business, of course. I didn't interfere when you threw it into one, but it wouldn't hurt to open the greenhouse and the others." "It's so hot, and you're here not opening it for days," and Anna didn't hear anything else. She felt unwell, her head was spinning. The neighbor led her into his house, sat her on the bed, and then, after looking around, asked, "I don't understand, your fridge is empty, unplugged, the kettle is cold, no bread, no food, have you eaten at all?" "Long ago, a week ago maybe, or more," and Anna burst into tears. Pavel left. "Right, who wants to look at such a beauty like me? Men like cheerful and beautiful ones, like Natalia. If she were here, he wouldn't have run away." Anna smiled to herself. Pavel returned after 10 minutes, brought soup, salad, warmed everything up, boiled tea, eat, and sternly looked at Anna. "I can't, I don't want to," she tried to refuse, but the man insisted, and Anna ate everything, then fell asleep. She didn't hear Pavel cover her with a blanket and quietly leave. The next morning she woke up to the sound of raindrops on the window. She went out onto the porch, and there was a bouquet of wildflowers, and her heart immediately warmed. She went to thank Pavel. He opened up to her, or maybe the effect of a traveling companion worked. "They treated you unfairly, Anna, no words for what your friend and husband did. It's not done that way, but don't kill yourself for them, pity yourself, spare yourself, everything will be fine," Pavel said, patting her shoulder. "What will be? Almost 50 years old, and I'll still live alone. Who needs me like this?" Anna cried. "Who needs you? I see a pretty woman in front of me, just too sad," the neighbor replied. He told her that he was a widower, his children were grown up, living in the south, usually spending the whole summer with them, but this year he decided to buy a garden for himself, and he stayed. So they started visiting each other, and after a while, Anna realized that she was in love, like a young girl. She thought she only loved Alexander, but it turned out there could be something else. Pavel turned out to be so good. Then they knocked down the fence on one side and their garden became simply enormous in size. They put up swings, a flower bed, and an inflatable pool. Then, after getting married, they adopted a girl, Xenia, from the orphanage, and now she calls them mom and dad. Anna learned from her ex-husband that he had a daughter with Natalia, but soon the company went bankrupt, he lost a lot of income, and now he and Natalia are constantly arguing, and they don't have enough money. Alexander tried to call Anna, but she didn't even talk to him. And now she doesn't have any friends. At all. Just acquaintances. And Anna doesn't invite anyone from the fairer sex to her house. She says there's no better friend than a mother and a pillow. A pillow. A pillow.